My name is Deborah Cox, and I will instruct you on how to make a monochromatic still life that will be a cover for the Bon Appetit magazine. Currently, I'm an art major at MATC. I'm taking various classes in the form of graphic design, color media, and art. I have pursued art my whole life, and I have been learning new skills to put behind my talents. I have 2.5 years total. I have 1.5 here at MATC, and I have 1 year of college art from Lawton, Oklahoma, Cameron University. I will be laying out the following steps for you to make a monochromatic still life, and you should be able to have, when you are done, a fine piece of art that you can put in your portfolio. The supplies you will need for this project are as follows. You will need some good quality Bristol board to paint your still life on. You will need blue and black and white gouache paint and paintbrushes. You will need tracing paper and transfer paper. You will need a mechanical pencil and a ballpoint pen. You will also need black illustration board and black cover sheet and tissue paper for the presentation mount. You will also need spray fixative for your image protection. So for this first step, you're going to need to draw a bunch of small thumbnail sketches, about 6 to 8. And what you will do is you will take the objects that you plan to photograph, and you will set them up after you've drawn your sketches and chosen your favorite one. So you set them up as your still life. You put a light source on them so that it portrays light and darkness in the picture, and you take the picture. And then you upload it to the computer. After you've done that, the next step is to open up Photoshop and pull your picture into the Photoshop program. You will then take your picture and you will make everything in your picture have a blue coloring to it. And what I mean by that is you go into the filters and you apply all one hue to your photo. You will then go into the filters and you will do what is called a cutout filter, which is the filter that I chose. And what it does is it takes your image and it breaks it down by lights and darks. And basically your image looks like a puzzle or a paint-by-number picture. And after you have done that, then you will take your picture and you will print it to the size that you will need to paint it. And after you are done with that, you will get out a big drawing board and you will put your Bristol board on it. You will take your tracing paper and you will tape it into the center of your Bristol board. You will then take your printed out image and you will put it on top of the tracing paper, or on top of the transfer paper, and you will tape everything down. Then you take your ballpoint pen and you are going to draw around every single cutout of light and dark value that is on that image paper. As you can see in the handout that I gave you, there's some samples of what it looks like, the image printed out with the cutout filter. So when you are done with this, you should have about 6 or 7 different shades that you have outlined that you can even number from like 1 to 6 or 1 to 7, from lightest to darkest. And then you untape everything from your Bristol board and lift it off, and what will be there is basically your still life, and it's broken down with the in individual little pieces with your light and dark values in the cutout filter. So your next step is to get your paints out and start mixing your paints. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to take your blue paint and start mixing it with different levels of black, different levels of white, until your shades exactly match the shades that are on that printed picture. And you want to make sure that it is very accurate. So you start painting, and you just paint onto your picture, and I would recommend you go from lightest to dark, because it's easier, and it's easier also to correct any mistakes you make. And if you get too dark, you have to start over. So after you are done painting, let your painting dry, and then spray with fixative, which is a sealant, and it coats your artwork, and it will also protect it against wear and damage and sun exposure. So in the next step, you're going to need to cut your painting out. And you will cut it to the size that you need. And you will then you will take your black illustration board and rubber cement, and you will mount it onto the black illustration board in the center. You will then cover it with a sheet of tissue paper and black cover sheet. And that is a professional mount that you will find anywhere in the graphic design world. And for this project, since we were designing for Bon Appetit magazine cover, we also had to take a piece of tissue paper, the exact size of our painting, and trace the lettering from the top of the Bon Appetit magazine onto the tracing paper and fill it in with black ink or black paint, whichever you choose, and tape it across the top of your painting. And when you are done, you should have a finished, smooth, clear result of what it would look like. Your painting, even though it's broke down by lights and darks and values, you should still be able to look at it and see your still life very clearly. And here's an example. This is the one that I did. As you can see, this is a professional mount presentation. This is the Bon Appetit covering, and for our school project it was supposed to be a wine and cheese theme. So that is the still life that we were supposed to set up, and like I said, I chose the blue hue, and this is my painting, my still life, and this is called a monochromatic painting. And so I've given you everything you need step by step to make this painting. And remember, the most important step is mixing your paints correctly, because if you do not have these shades blending in a smooth fashion, your painting will be choppy and blocky, and it will not resemble your still life at all. So there you go. You have a nice piece of artwork for your portfolio, and I hope that if you choose to make one of these, that you just have fun. Okay? Thanks.